in the Pacific Northwest, in Seattle. It's based out of Seattle, and now I'm working in our Jerusalem office, in our headquarters. I don't do talks as often as I used to in the past, but I always used to start my talks with apologizing for my English. My English has gotten better, but English is English is my third language. My first language is Arabic. My second language is Hebrew, and English is my third. And I picked up my English in American TV shows. Actually, watching American TV shows. That's how I learned it from Saturday Night Live. Grew up watching that. So it's not that good. But if you don't understand me, just raise your hand, and I'll repeat myself. So today we're going to speak about COGAT. I'm going to tell you a bit about my military service, about what we're doing in COGAT, and give you another insight to what's going on in the West Bank, the Judea and Samaria, and the Gaza Strip. Thank you, Tali.
Yeah, small cups.
And I want to tell you a bit about myself and what led me to choose to join COGAT. As I said, I spoke Arabic and Hebrew at home. It was bilingual home. My family came to Israel in the early 50s. My family from my father's side came to Israel from North Africa, from Tunisia. In Tunisia there was 105,000 Jews that were ethnically cleansed because they were Jews. Everything was stolen from them, their property was taken away. After years of oppression, my grandmother used to tell us the stories about how they were oppressed on a daily basis, on the fact that they were Jewish was a problem. They actually went through a whole lot more of oppression because there were Mazzig Jews, Berber Jews that are the most indigenous people of North Africa, and they went through double oppression because they were not only Jewish Tunisian, they were Jewish Berber Tunisian, and it's not the topic of the presentation, but they really went through a lot of harshness. While my family from my father's side had been forced out from Tunisia, my family from my mother's side had been forced out from Iraq. In Iraq, there was a population of 150,000 Jews, 150,000 people that were, again, all forced out, were all pushed away. The only place that they had to come to was Israel. But we're talking about 150,000 people that lost all of their property, lost everything they had, lost the language, culture, and again, in 3,000 years, was the first time there was a place for them to come to. And it's this miracle that you guys are experiencing today. So, growing up, I grew up with the Arabic culture at home. My favorite artists were always Arabic artists like Kulthum. She's a famous musician, and this was something that was part of my identity. When I was 12, we lived in Petah Tikva. Petah Tikva is a suburb of Tel Aviv, although most of Israel is a suburb of Tel Aviv, let's be honest. You've seen it now. And some say that Jerusalem is also a suburb. So I was 12 years old, and it was the heights of the Second Intifada. Anyone heard about the Intifada, Second Intifada? Yeah. What is it? Intifada? Someone? Okay, so Intifada in Arabic means to violently uprise. To uprise, but it's violent is attached to it. And it was the heights of the Second Intifada. Almost every day there was a terror attack in Israel. 2002, Palestinians from the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, walked into Israel and conduct terror attacks in form of exploding themselves on buses, in the streets, in shopping malls, in cinemas. It was really unsafe to go anywhere in Israel. And I was 12 years old, and I remember my mom sending me to get myself an ice cream. It was 2 blocks away from my home, and she says, "Hen, be very careful. You know, it's I think it was a Jewish holiday that day." So she said there might be a terror attack. So make sure that you're always looking around. If someone is speaking Arabic, just listen to what they say, and make sure that you're hearing what they're saying. If someone is sweating or wearing a coat because it's the summer, so something, giving me a briefing to an FBI agent before sending me on a mission of getting an ice cream. And I said, "Mom, don't worry, I'm going to get ice cream every day." I was a chubby kid, never missed a chance to get an ice cream. And I'm going to the ice cream shop, and as I'm getting there, I'm a few seconds from walking inside, and the place blows up in my just second before I'm walking inside, and I'm thrown back, and there's glass thrown all over, and smoke and fire, and I don't remember much because I was 12, and I think the trauma really did something to me, but I just remember a terrible smell in the air, and swear to God, every time I'm sharing this story, I'm getting goosebumps because it's such a traumatic memory for someone to hold with you. And to this ice cream place, there was inside the ice cream place there was a grandmother and her 2-year-old granddaughter that were eating ice cream when a Palestinian suicide bomber walked inside and exploded himself, killing both of them on the spot. Sharing this story with students on college campuses in the US, I always hear, well, Palestinians are freedom fighters. They're this type of terrorism that you call terrorism is freedom fighting for them. And I will not accept that in any way, because there's no freedom fighting in killing a grandmother and a 2-year-old granddaughter. This girl didn't do anything bad in her life. She didn't do anything good in her life. She was 2 years old. And I was seconds away from not standing here today. If I left my home 2 minutes earlier, I would probably won't be here today. My name would be probably on a stone somewhere. And that's an experience that most Israelis grew up with, either knowing someone that was killed in a terror attack. It was, again, on the daily, every day there was terror attack somewhere else in Israel. And it ended with the construction of the security fence. Israel built a security fence to border between the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, and Israel, and between Gaza and Israel. The idea was that because we are in a situation that we can't really agree on how peace will look like, we have to build some sort of a fence. Well, I'll show it to you in a second. That will divide. That will be able to maintain Israeli security, and it's something that we can change. We can move the fence as soon as we'll agree on borders. We can move it, but for now we have to have it. And it actually shows that it decreased the amount of terror attacks in 95%. 95%. Sorry. And when I turned 18 and I had to join a unit in the army, there was several options, and most of my friends went and joined combat units because they grew up with this fear of security and they really wanted to do something to make sure that there is security, real security. I chose to join the COGAT unit. I think something that my grandmother passed to me and my mom passed to me was this feeling of hope. When my grandmother shared the stories about Iraq and what happened to them there, she wasn't resentful, she wasn't angry, she wasn't hateful. She told me, these are the stories, but we always look forward. There was always this feeling of hope that she relayed to me. And the same thing with my mom. When I came back from this terror attack when I was 12 and I was bruised and I was crying, my mom hugged me, and I can't remember her saying anything bad about Palestinians or anything bad about, it wasn't that, it was the fact that you're alive. That's the most important thing, and that's what we're maintaining. And it's not just my parents, it's most Israelis, all Israelis, this is what we have. We are holding this hope for peace, that hope is also the name of our national anthem. And that's why I chose to join the COGAT unit. The COGAT unit is the coordinator of government activities in the territories. It's basically a unit of thousands and thousands of soldiers and officers that their only job is to take care of the Palestinian side, to make sure that the people that are uninvolved with the conflict will not be hurt by the conflict, or to minimize the effect of the conflict on those people, on the civilians that aren't involved. This is the way that we are structured. See, there's the IDF Chief of Staff that was working under the Minister of Defense, that works under the Prime Minister. The head of COGAT, unlike other major generals in the IDF, is not even